with a new live or another live. I think this one may or may not be a Q&A tonight. Well, only I say that is only because, one, due to the fact that well, it's just due to the fact that I am going to have some new content available on my YouTube channel. That's a little bit of a surprise, and that's just going to be quite a long video about just on what you'll see with the new content that'll be available. So yes, you are all in luck. New content will be available on the channel. So not to worry. I don't know what is going on here with this damn thing. So Annie. So it turns out that things are things are fine. Actually. Things are going the way they're supposed to. So anyway. The point of this video is to, if anyone has any questions about any of the paranormal experiences that I have had, or any of the alien encounter abduction stories that I have had recently, or had recent videos on, and some of the live streams. I know I haven't been on for a while, but I'm on now. So, if anyone has any questions, please feel free to ask. I don't mind the ones I'm watching live. That's so fucking weird. So yeah, if anyone has any questions on any of that, please feel free to ask. Just ask the question and you get an answer right in the video. I can't believe no one's joining it. Welcome to the live. So anyway, if anyone has any questions about any of the paranormal experiences or any of the alien encounter abduction stuff, please feel free to ask the questions about those things and not these random questions, because I'm not doing answers to random questions tonight. No. I don't know why no one can ever literally stick to the questions about what I was just going on about instead of asking random questions. Okay. It's just annoying. But yeah, whatever. Okay, well, I'm not answering those questions because those are not the questions that are actually for this live stream right now. The questions that are actually for this live stream are questions on the other live streams about the paranormal activity experiences and the alien encounter abduction experiences. That's what the questions are supposed to be. Stuff related to that. Not these random ass questions that you people are asking. Oh, and by the way, there is a surprise to my content that'll be coming out, so not to worry. So that's why I'm not answering those questions right now. Does anyone have anything to say about that? There, I'll answer that question. Well, let me put it this way. Old enough to know better, but don't. How's that? Oh, and hi there. Welcome to the live. Yes, I know. So, If anyone has any questions on any of the paranormal experience encounters, story videos, or the alien encounter ones, please feel free to ask. Questions about those would be better. But if no one's going to ask questions on those, then therefore they're not going to get answered. And I'm not going to answer random questions either. So that's another thing that's really starting to be an issue lately. It's starting to piss me the fuck off on here. That's just another thing. So anyway, does anyone have any questions about the point of this live stream? Apparently no one knows how to ask a question on that. Whatever. I guess that's just how it is. Damn it. Whoa. Anyway, so this how do I explain this thing that had happened not that long ago, actually? So anyway, or if anyone has any questions about how I can spot a scam from a mile away, feel free to ask about that too, if need to be, or ask about the alien encounter stuff. That would be even better. 10 viewers and an attitude. I didn't have no attitude. I don't know where you people are getting that shit from, like always. Whatever. I'd like to know what type of attitude you think I'm having. I'm not having no attitude. You know, there's also a fan in the background that's actually running. So therefore, I'm actually talking over that fan. I'm not having an attitude. Yeah, you know, see, this is another fucking thing. To answer your question about that, do you know Albert Einstein? No, I don't actually. And that question is not about this video, so therefore I don't really have to actually answer that, but you're lucky I answered it. I can just tell you that much right now. I don't know why it's so hard to stick to the point of this live stream and the questions, apparently. Like the paranormal encounter experiences or the alien encounter experiences, or how I can spot a scam from a mile away. We can't stick to any of the questions about that. Oh no, apparently that's too fucking hard. But yeah, I just don't know how those questions apply to this video that are being asked. They actually don't. So that's why I'm not going to be answering them. The questions that are supposed to be asked are the ones about the alien encounter experience, or the paranormal experience ones, or how I can spot a scam from a mile away. And once again, I'm not having an attitude. Okay, well, first of all, I'm glad you asked that question, what the live stream is actually all about. This live stream was just about the other videos and the other live streams about the alien encounter experiences that I've had, and the paranormal experiences that I have had, and about how I can spot a scam from a mile away. That's what this live streams are usually about. I hope that answers your question. Now, see, that question I don't mind. Question like that, I'll actually answer. Lucky about what? You're lucky. Attitude. And I did not have an attitude. So I don't know why that keeps coming about. Well, whoever thinks I'm having an attitude, you don't have to watch the live stream. An alien, well, that's sort of kind of hard to say because I had this experience a long time ago where I was actually abducted by them. And it is kind of hard to talk about that, but I figured I'd just give it a go. And I figured I'd share that on here. And that whole experience was actually quite creepy. But what I'm saying is, let me try to explain this another way. Well, what they looked like is they appeared as this very pale shade of white. Like if you ever seen a white shade of paint that looked it's white paint, but it looks like it looks very pale. That's what they looked like. Their eyes were about like this big, and their eyes had like this like silverish look to them, almost like quarters. That's basically how I can describe them. And now see, yes, questions like this I don't mind answering. Now, questions that are random questions that are not about the point of this live stream, those I don't answer because they don't fit within the live stream of what it's about. It's just I've noticed that some of my live streams, people have a hard time for some reason sticking with what the live stream is about for the questions instead of them sticking with it. Apparently, they just seem to ask random questions, which is, I find that odd. But a lot of people, every time when I say that on here, all think I'm having an attitude. I don't know, actually, but you know what? I'll bet you they probably could if they really wanted to. Because if a human could, why can't a mystical creature like an alien do that then too? I mean, it's probably different for aliens, actually, to be honest with you. Like I said, see, your questions I don't mind. It's just some of those other questions that were random. Like, people were asking me these random questions about just random things that didn't seem to make sense. And I just found that as very odd. That's why I will always say, please stick with the questions about the live stream videos instead of not sticking with them. But every time when I say that, people think I'm having an attitude when I'm not. That's just the sound of my voice. And there's a fan running in the background. So I am talking over that fan. So therefore, I don't really think that's having an attitude. Like some people on here thought that I was having an attitude. And I wasn't having an attitude. And what do you call it here? Skinmatic 24. Just know that I was not having an attitude. Um, Unfortunately, that is actually a disclaimer that I cannot answer due to some very strict YouTube policies. I'm sorry. I honestly wish I could answer your question about that. Like I said, I really wish I could answer your question on that, but due to YouTube's very strict policies, unfortunately, I can't answer that question for you. I'm so sorry. My apologies. But anyway, what I could do to answer your question is aliens are from outer space, usually. Um, no, actually, I'm not on that because I was. There's a funny little story to that, actually. I was on there, but I actually had to go off there because due to a scam that occurred on there. So that's why I chose not to be on that. And every time I was on that, my phones that I've had would suddenly start having issues with that app and they would suddenly start malfunctioning. I actually had one that actually melted because of that app. There was something with that app to where my phone ended up running to the point where the phone got so hot that it actually literally melted. Yeah, so like I said, I've had very bad luck with that app. And then a most random thing happened with that app. I got this random Facebook friend request one time, and this girl tried claiming that she knew me from coming into the hair salon where I would often go for haircuts sometimes, that I've been going to for years, and so have other family members and other people. And this girl claimed that she worked there, and I said, okay. And like I had never seen that girl there before, and I had been there multiple times. So then all of a sudden her Facebook page said she worked there, and I was like, okay. Well, I didn't know who she was that had worked there, so I said, all right, you know what, I'll just hit deny on that friend request. So I hit deny on this friend request, and then all of a sudden this iPhone that I had at the time, all of a sudden just starting randomly shutting off by itself. And literally, after I hit deny on that Facebook friend request, all of a sudden that phone suddenly froze and kept shutting off by itself for quite a while. So I actually had to manually shut it off, and I literally had to wait quite a while for it to actually work properly again. So then what ended up happening prior is all my accounts, such as my phone carrier account, my social media account, just all these random accounts, I literally had to go in and actually change all the security information, like login and passwords, about 6 times in a row one day. I had to go and change them. All because I hit deny and some random friend requested someone that I didn't know. All just because I hit deny. So then I literally checked this girl's Facebook page, claimed that she worked at this hair salon that I know about, a place that I've been before multiple times. So I call there. They said no one by that name works there. So I didn't know what in the hell was going on with all that. I hate WhatsApp too because of their privacy policy. Yeah, I totally agree with you on that. But anyway, that's what ended up happening with that, which is horrible. But interesting part was, so, and the funny thing is, my iPhone at the time never had any of those problems. So then I said to myself, well, would I have had this problem if I had hit accept on this random friend request of someone that I didn't know? I say, do people literally honestly think I would be that stupid? Yeah, that was a whole other issue with that whole thing. So therefore, I'm going to come out and say this, and I hope people don't get mad. Fuck WhatsApp. That app ought to be shut down anyway. I honestly think that YouTube and TikTok are a little more popular. I don't know what animals, or I'm sorry, I mean, I don't know what aliens eat. Oh my lord. I, they probably eat humans, I'd imagine, because they like abducting them so much. So, I'll share with you the rest of the story. Hold on one second, please. So anyway, um, so at the time I was living in this rental single wide trailer. Yeah, it was an older trailer, like a 1970s model, and it was a rental at the time. And I'm living there, and I lived there for years prior to that incident. So while living there, actually, all of a sudden, the most strangest thing happened. Um, the strangest thing that happened is, so one day everything started out normal. The day was all completely a normal day. And I remember later that day, as you know, it was starting to get dark out, getting dark for the night. I remember seeing this weird blue looking light thing up in the sky. I'm looking at it and I'm like, that's so weird. That's staying still, whatever. So I didn't pay no attention to it at the time. So then nighttime comes. So later that night, I see it again and I'm like, wow, that's still staying still. And all of a sudden, I'm looking at it. It's still staying still, and I'm like, whoa, that's really strange. So I don't think nothing of it. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I'm in my living room, sitting on the couch, watching Jeopardy one night, because it was a later airing, because I had missed it earlier. So I had a blanket on the couch, because it was still wintertime, so it was cold. So I have it wrapped around me, the blanket. I'm sorry, I don't know what time it is over there. So anyway, it was winter time, and I had the blanket on the couch, and I was wrapped up in it watching Jeopardy. And in the living room, I had the lights were on still, and I'm watching TV. So they go to a commercial, everything's great, commercials going, and running. All of a sudden, everything's so fine. I glance over by the front door, everything's fine. So I go back to watching the rest of the commercial, which gets over. Another commercial comes on. That's going great. It's going great. All of a sudden, next thing you know, I glance over the front door again. All of a sudden, there are these two alien creatures just standing there looking at me. I'm like, uh-oh. So by the time I'm ready to make a run for it, they literally drag me off the couch, drag me over into my kitchen area towards the back door, by where the coffee table was. They inserted this blue stone, so deep into my big toe, that thing hurt like hell coming out the next morning. I can tell you that much. So they do that, and then all of a sudden they drag me again, put me back on the couch, just like I was prior. And then all of a sudden, I go like that, like, whoa, like, hey, like what happened, And all of a sudden, next thing you know, I'm back on the couch, about literally halfway through Jeopardy, commercial comes on. I glance over by the front door. All of a sudden, this time, nothing happens. And I said to myself, whoa, you've got to be kidding me. I was like, that's just happened? That's weird. Now, mind you, I had lived in that trailer for a couple of more years, like 2 or 3 years after that. And then I actually eventually ended up moving out of there and I ended up moving very far away after that. But that's just the whole experience on that. Well, okay, well, you're falling asleep. Well, good night. Is anyone else watching the live, or is that it? All right, I will see you all in the next video. I will see you all in the next live. And there is new content will be on my channel. A surprise that's coming. All right, I will see you all in the next live stream. Bye.